So you guys know this channel cover UFO content. I'm fascinated by it. It's been something that I've been covering for years. It's one of those things where it's always the weirdest thing in the world to me. We're a ball hurling through space, and we never actually quite think that there may be other balls hurling through space with people on them who are also looking up at the stars, wondering who else is out there and how are they living. Fascinated by it. Now, recently, the Pentagon released 3 videos. Now, those 3 videos basically show UFOs what our pilots were engaging. Now, the videos are less important than the pilots' testimony. The pilots themselves have basically did interviews where they basically said, I was watching this thing for like 5 minutes. It was a craft. It was under intelligent control, and it made my systems look primitive, basically. It was not ours. They were very clear. This was not ours. Now, this happened on multiple occasions, in which case they released 3 videos. But there have been more videos, of course, that these guys have that they haven't been released. Supposedly, many or more information is going to be released in 2020 that is supposed to be somewhat mind-blowing. We'll see. We'll wait to find out. But nevertheless, we do know that the Pentagon has legitimized those videos by releasing them out themselves, saying that they wanted to basically demonstrate the veracity and get rid of any concerns that it wasn't from them. Now, I did a video almost last year making the point that it was from the Pentagon. It was basically proven at that point that it was from the Pentagon. So people have been putting out freedom of information requests trying to get additional information on what the Pentagon knows and what the military knows about UFOs. The catch here is that some of this information is going to be hoarded within private companies because that's the way our government hides from Freedom of Information Act. I pair with a company. I give that company certain information. That way I myself don't have to have access to that information. So anything that you ask me, I can say I have no idea about it because it's being held in private hands, which our Freedom of Information Act can't go. However, in the case of military personnel that is engaging things into the sky, well, that is a factor of government. And that is something that could be pulled by FOIA requests, assuming that the FOIA requests or that the reports were actually made. Now, people were able to find multiple incidents of pilots engaging something in the sky, by definition, an unidentified flying object, and basically filing reports on those items. Some of these reports are basically, there's something here, there's something small that's engaging, it's hard to see, this is going to create a problem later on when we hit something. But there are other reports that are not that way, that are more interesting in regards to what they are. I think one of the most interesting things that is being displayed here is not what they're showing, it's what they're not showing. Meaning, think of the 3 videos that were released where you saw something in the sky that was outperforming our planes. And the pilots basically said this didn't look like ours. The radar got across how fast the thing was traveling. So, weird phenomena that seem to be under intelligent control. Why are there no reports for that? When they send out a Freedom of Information Act report or request, no reports come back for those items. In those situations, it basically comes back, Mom, where are those reports? Where are they hiding all of that documentation? They engage stuff in the sky all the time. And most of the time, we know nothing about the stuff that they're engaging. But they got 3 videos here. Did the pilots not file a report about, oh my God, there was something that we were flying in the sky with. I have no idea what it was. It didn't seem to be from this world. Where are the reports? Where are the reports? That's the part that's most interesting. So let's follow. This is Vice. 7 of the reports come from FA-18 Super Hornets from 2013 to 2014. The last comes from an EA-18G Crowler. All of this took place above the Atlantic Ocean. Crucially, none of the reports came from Go Fast, Gimbal, or FLIR, but they do shed light on the routine nature of encountering weird objects in the sky. Some objects are weirder than others. Now, the most interesting one. According to Driver Report and UFO Buzz, the Super Hornet pilot of the USS Nimitz in 2014, an intelligence officer sent a full report of the incident to the Navy base in San Diego via a secured email. The officer who received the email deleted it and failed to report it up the chain of command. Now, at this point, the Navy has basically moderated or updated their ability for people to give information about UFOs that they've encountered. Now, if you're putting out a video like this and people see that video and people start asking questions about that video, then the first question becomes, well, wait a minute. How are you recording this? And if you have all of these videos, don't you have to explain what this is? The Navy at that point says, all right, logically, we have to create a system to allow people to call these things in. Now, part of this is religious belief. Part of it is ideological. You have some people who are against this notion of UFOs. They think these things are aliens, or I'm sorry, they think these things are demons or from the devil or whatnot because of their religious base. You have other people who don't believe that and believe that this information needs to be out. Those people who believe that information needs to be out were most likely the people who leaked this video from the Pentagon, or gave that information over to TTSA and Tom DeLonge. No reports. Where are the reports? Where are the reports? Where are the reports? That's the question. Where are the reports for all of these videos that we've been encountering? I showed this video the other day of this, I think he's a general in South, but basically he made the point that, yeah, we were experiencing these things over the course of a period of time. Well, if you were experiencing odd phenomena in the sky over the course of a period of time, where are those reports? Where are those reports? I'll leave this here. I don't want to keep this one long, but I do like to point out the UFO news because I think the news is pertinent. One of the most interesting questions is, why is this coming out now? And that's the part that I think concerns me more than anything else. I don't trust our political leaders. And because I don't trust our political leaders, you have something that is basically in the black and something that is basically in the black. These guys are supposed to be governing in our interests. Do they govern in our interests now? And would that change in the sense of heightened technology? One of the most interesting aspects of this also is basically one of Luis Elizondo made the point that they've modeled the physics on these craft, meaning how they do what they do. They figured out the math, even though they can't necessarily build the device or the craft themselves. They at the very least have metrics on how the devices behave. If your scientists start to get in their heads of, well, wait a minute, how did they get here? Well, the moment they ask that question, how did they get here? It automatically assumes that something is getting here, which opens up the window in regards to scientific thought and opinion in regards to what they believe is actually possible. There are multiple consequences for this type of story and for the New York Times, or for that matter, CNN, or for that matter, MSNBC, running these stories. It opens minds. The public doesn't seem to all that much overly respond to this. When the Pentagon released those videos, there was a huge amount of people on social media who was like, oh my God, because those people didn't watch this channel. And because those people didn't watch this channel, they didn't necessarily know the reality of what was going on in our skies and what the military basically had been up to. But nevertheless, we spend tons of money on that stuff. Eric Lawrence, important topic. Thanks. I do think it's an important topic, especially as more information starts to come out over the course of this year and next. Keep in mind, TTSA is arguing that they have materials and that they've been trying to get those materials investigated in order to figure out whether they came from somewhere else. The U.S. military has joined in a cooperative agreement with an organization that is explicit of working on this notion of UFOs and aliens. Again, would the U.S. military be working with this organization if there was nothing to see here? I gotta be honest, I don't think they would. Meaning there's oddities to this. I mean, even the research that the U.S. military was doing, that research was getting into this weird physics, like hyper or electrogravitics, invisibility, warp drive. Like, these were very bizarre and strange physics that these guys were working on that would have fit easily within the Star Trek universe. They weren't studying it for their health. They were studying it because at the very least they came across something, or at the very least their interest was piqued. All I'm saying is, it's either us or it's not. There are no two ways about it. If it is indeed us, then there is some secret program that our pilots are unaware of, that when they're engaged in the craft, they literally think it's a UFO coming from some other planet. If it is not us, oh my God. But both of those things are mind-blowing outcomes. Either way, like, share, subscribe.